Hello YouTube, I'm just doing another vehicle update. I have traded in my wife's 2018 Ford EcoSport, which is basically the baby version of the Escape, for my 2018 Alfa Romeo Giulia Sport. It's a TI Sport. It's used, obviously. It's got about 40,000 miles, 42,000 miles. This is the TI Sport package with a couple other little package items, like it's got like the dark trim, black trim, the black emblems. This is the 2-liter direct injected, and I think it's multi-port injected as well. I believe it's 280 horsepower, 306 foot-pounds of torque. It's made it to a ZF 8-speed, which is essentially what you would find in the Jaguars and some of the other Mopar products, like the Hellcat. This is all-wheel drive. It's got 19-inch rims and tires. It does have Brembo brakes. It's got black calipers with the white Alfa Romeo script. The only other options interior-wise, with it of course being the TI Sport package, is it's got the sport seats. It's got the paddle shifters. This one does not have, I think it has Sirius, but I don't think it has HD. And I don't believe it's got navigation, but I don't need navigation. It's got an analog gauge cluster with a little 7-inch digital display in the front, and then of course you get the little digital infotainment system there, which I think is an 8.8 inch. Also with the Harman Kardon, I think it's a 900 watt stereo system with a subwoofer. It's a pretty basic car. I mean, basic in the sense of it's about the size of some of the smaller C-Class Mercedes. Probably a BMW 3 Series, and I would assume probably the Audi S4. So this one is in a tri-coat red. I don't know the name of it. I think it's Competition tri-coat red. Definitely looks red here in the sunlight. It looks kind of more orange. I think that's probably because there's probably a pearl midcoat. It does have dual exhaust, and I like it. These are steel these days. You can get these cars for like 21 grand now. Fairly well spec'd out. This one was a little bit more, but not by much more. And it's just a gorgeous car. Like I said, it is all-wheel drive. This one does happen to have all-season sport radials on it, which is good because I live in New England, so. And it's pretty quick. I'm very surprised at how nice the handling is on it, especially the we're fine, people. There we go. Especially the steering is light, but it's not like a jittery light. It's not so light that you can overcorrect too easily. It's got a little bit of weight to it, the actual steering itself, but it's got a real high gear ratio for the rack. Very good turning radius for all-wheel drive. I'm actually kind of surprised of the turning radius. Now this one does not have the panoramic, the dual sunroofs. That's one option I did not get. There were two other Alphas that I was looking at that had them, but there were other issues with those cars, and being used cars. A lot of these are probably ex-fleet vehicles. This one actually is in really, really good condition. There's not really much wear. There's a few minor scuffs here and there, a little bit of curb rash here or there, but nothing's going to deter me from making a purchase. But the other ones, some of them just had a little too much, or they wanted a little too much, a little bit more money than I was willing to put down for them. One of them had like this has soft touch dashboards. It doesn't have the leather. I mean, the leather seats and everything, these are all leather. Steering wheel is leather. But the other ones with the nice leather package and the wood trim inserts, it's nice. But I think it's just more of a luxury item. It's not really a necessity. It might help with some dampening, but I actually am perfectly fine with this as is. This is perfectly okay. There's some plastics here and there, but there's a lot of soft touch areas. All the where you put your legs. I mean, it's just nice. Sport seats are all electric adjustable. I like it's got the extendable thigh portion that you can pull in and out for taller people. The memory seats. The audio is good. I've heard a lot of complaints about the Harman Kardon's audio system. I don't know what they're talking about. Maybe they just don't know how to tune their audio, but it sounds perfectly fine to me. It's more than acceptable. It's definitely not a bass stereo by any means. This has auto sensing wipers. This particular one has blind spot monitoring across traffic. Has obviously cruise control, the atypical cruise control. Push start on the steering wheel. I love the paddle shifters. The aluminum paddle shifters have got a weighty feel to them. They're big and they're stationary. They don't move with the steering wheel. It's got all the auto lights, and I think this is a xenon headlights. I'm pretty sure they're not LEDs, but they're not halogens either. Yeah, it's overall pretty nice car. I mean, it's so well balanced. I was riding on a spot that I particularly go on this off ramp, but I usually do in my videos, and just taking the turn off the highway onto the on ramp at the speeds this car can do, and it's just so composed. It's no jitters, no bouncing, no body roll whatsoever. And when you turn it, it just goes where you turn like it should. Like the response is so good. My only complaint could be, and this must be why a lot of people do these Go Pedal mods, is the throttle response could be a little bit better. I think there's maybe a little bit of a hair of turbo lag, or it's the throttle mapping isn't great on the throttle pedal. But it's not the throttle pedal is not so bad that it's like unusable or anything. It's just, you can definitely feel it. And I've had enough turbo cars, especially with all the work that I experienced with my 16 Mustang EcoBoost, to know the difference on what a really sensitive throttle pedal is. And but it's not bad. It's definitely better in dynamic mode, and it's definitely better also when you're manually shifting. But it's deceptively fast. It's like, I guess the way I would call it, probably like how Matt Farah would call it. He would call it a fast slow car, which is amusing but somewhat accurate. It's not a Tesla in ludicrous mode, but it's also not like a Fiat Abarth or Mustang EcoBoost. It's very quick. It's deceptively fast. Excuse me, especially in auto mode. The shifts are very clean. I was actually getting a little bit spooked how fast it was going, considering the power ratings. So it's making very good use of that high torque. So I may end up tuning this car, because I do know there's a couple of good tuners out there that can, even near stock with just maybe an airbox and plugs, these things will run like 320 horse and somewhere in the 370, 380 torque range, which is, for this little car, more than enough. I mean, it's even more than enough now. But if I get too used to the power, like you kind of do sometimes, we'll see. But other than that, this car so far, granted this is only my first day, but first day impressions of, I've test drove these for about a week now, so I've been very impressed with them. That's the only reason why. Even though the doors, like the front doors, don't seem very big, and I'm a pretty big guy. I'm 230 pounds, and I'm 6 foot. I can fit in here fine. And getting in and out is actually fine. I actually have a harder time getting in and out of my wife's Ford Focus than I do this car. And that one had technically wider front doors. This car is almost the reverse. It's almost like the back doors are actually wider than the fronts. But because you sit into and step up and out of, because it has a very low seating. I mean, I'm definitely my shoulder is almost to the door sill. That's how low you kind of sit into the car. So it's got a very sporty feel to it. So, but that's just a quick update now. We'll see what happens in the future. I'm sure I might do some things because I can't help myself. And, more updates to come. All right, talk to you later.